Alright dudes, welcome back to Duty's Daggers, and today we are doing something that I've put off for a little while, and I've done one of these before, but not in a bit. It's time to show you guys my entire knife collection. We're going to go through them all. You're going to see every single knife I own right now. Now, in previous times that I've done this, I've kind of just gone one by one. I pull out a knife, I show it to you, I move on to the next one, all through the collection. This time I've got an idea from another YouTube channel, one that I've actually come to really like, and that is Knife Nerdery. I haven't talked to the guy yet. I'm not even sure his name. I just found his channel recently, and I really like his videos. He's smart. He knows his stuff. He's got a great collection. Um, so go subscribe to him. I'd like to reach out to him and maybe have him on a live stream or something like that. But his channel is really refreshing. I've really been liking it. So the way he did his collection video was he kind of broke them up into categories. He would have like, I don't know, budget knives under, 40 bucks. He would have, knives with interesting locking mechanisms, knives with deployment holes. I don't know. He had different categories to kind of break up the flow, and there were cuts in the video, and I think I'm going to do it the same way. So I'm going to cut the video after I'm done talking right now. When we come back, there will be a bunch of knives on the table that will all be related in some way. We'll talk about all those. The video will cut. We'll move on to the next category. And so you'll see all my knives, but they'll just be kind of broken up into categories. And I think it'll be a little more interesting to watch and kind of fun for me too. So let's get into it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This video is going to take me quite a while to do, so I would appreciate if you subscribed as a thank you, and like the video as a thank you if you're already subscribed. If you want to, you can follow me on Instagram too, duties_daggers. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, this first set of knives it's a smaller set, but these are knives that got me into the knife game. These four were knives that I purchased right as I was just getting into, realizing how large the knife community was, how many options there were out there, what made a good knife, what made a bad knife, really researching the knife before I bought them. I had never done that before these here. Now this knife is a very old buck that was my dad's, that he gave to me. So I've had this longer than any of these knives that you're going to see in the video. You can see my dad's name, Dave, right there, and then you can see where I put my name when I was a kid right there. So very special. This is a Buck 105 that you can tell has been really sharpened down quite a bit. I've never sharpened it personally. It's relatively sharp, and I just leave it in my truck, which is why you haven't seen it on the channel ever, because it's always in my truck, and I always forget to grab it out for videos. They still make this knife. I don't know if it's exactly the same or if they've updated it a bit. The pictures I've seen online, this is a much broader blade, so I don't know if it was just sharpened way, way down or what. But this is a classic. You can tell it's been used quite a bit. I've used it quite a bit, and this is something that I'll never leave the collection. This is a classic buck knife. Great sheath, too. I mean, for how old it is, crap, man. They made this thing well. None of the seams have broken. Everything is just completely perfect on it. Really cool. This one's a placeholder. This was not, this was actually given to me by a subscriber. But the Pilar 3 was one of my first knives. This is the regular Pilar. Figured I'd put it in just kind of as a placeholder. The Pilar series is a really, really great kind of collection of knives. There's the Pilar, the Pilarge, the Pilar 3. I think there's a couple versions of the Pilar 3 now. Voxnez design. They're cheap knives, but extremely ergonomic. Love this sheepsfoot blade. The Pilar 3 was kind of a drop point-ish, but really, really awesome knives. The Ontario Rat Model 2, this was my first knife that I actually researched and bought. The very first one. I heard that the rats were legendary. I started learning about, I just heard everyone saying great things about them, so I decided to get one. This one I have stonewashed myself and put a nice edge on it. It's in D2, and I think this was, I think they're around like 45 bucks, 40 bucks. Great thumb stud action, man. Still, this is still a pretty darn good knife. Soon after, I bought myself a QSP Penguin. This is one of the original ones in the denim micarta. I actually kind of ground this one down a little bit to make it more of a Warncliffe looking blade. It had a little hump here before. I even added some jimping up there because I was using this to cut out leather. Kind of nice to put your finger on some jimping right there. There's so many versions of the Penguin now, but this was the first one. And my first ever Civivi Praxis. This is still a very recommendable work knife. Very, very slicey, very, very thin behind the edge, broad blade. People call this kind of the budget shaman. I can agree with that. Definitely some similarities. And now there's actually a mini Praxis and, more recently, a premium Praxis by which is really cool. It's a titanium frame lock, and apparently it's got even thinner geometry, which is pretty crazy because it already is really slicey. So yeah, that was my first Civivi. All right, let's move on to the next set of knives. Next up, we got some Tucsons. These are my 3 Tucsons, and I almost thought about waiting to make this video because I have a fourth one coming on the way right now in the mail, but I have to get this done while I have time on the weekend, so here we go. These are the 3 that I own right now. The first one I got was the Tucson TS300. This was a present from my buddy Diener, my first Tucson, and this is a wicked freaking Tanto. Hollow grind here, flat up here. This is an older one in 14C. I think they make them in D2 nowadays. With skiff bearings, this is very, very smooth. Really like kind of the angular sort of futuristic look that some Tucsons really have. Reverse flicker only. Great detent. It's a very cool knife. Choke up spot, full titanium frame lock. Great stuff. Next was the Tucson TS269. The highest quality, the highest build quality of any Tucson that I've handled so far. TS269. This is an incredibly built knife. I've said it before. If you handed me this knife, which was $100, and you handed me, I don't know, like a $400 Chavez, I wouldn't be able to tell you which had better build quality. They feel exactly the same as far as quality. This is insane. Tucson was really flexing when they made this one, and you can tell as soon as you get it in hand, especially when it breaks in. Hydraulic action, excellent thumb stud action, great detent. Just milling on the scales. I mean, gosh, even different textures of milling on both sides, on the lock bar, everywhere. Great clip. Wicked design too. I mean, this is the only knife with an upswept tip, I think, in my whole collection. But it just looks wicked on this thing. So if you want a knife that feels like a $400 knife, that's only $100. The TS269, baby. And the most recent one, the Tucson TS, what is it again? 376. This is one I had my eye on for a little while. Really like the large, broad sheep's foot blade. This is a big one. You can tell choked up. I got a little extra coming out the back here. It's a big boy. But man, is it thin behind the edge, broad blade. This cuts so well. You can watch my cut test video for any of these. And yeah, this is an amazing cutter. Great food prep knife. Love the stone washing on the titanium. Just looks real nice on this one. And the blade. Yeah, extremely smooth action. All of these. Extremely smooth action. Great reverse flicker. Yeah, really, really good knife. Tucson, they're, you guys know, their build quality for the money is just nuts. So, those are the Tucsons. On to the next one. Next up, let's look at some Kubis. I love Kubi. They make some really good stuff. This is actually a Damned Designs knife, but it is made by Kubi, which is why it's in here. And this is the Kubi Momentum. Comes with black G10 or any other color G10 that you buy it in. But these are homemade by me, aluminum scales for it. They're not completely dialed in yet. I need to get like a flat right-angled end mill to get a 90-degree kind of flat hole in here. This is just a regular drill bit hole. So it's a little bit wonky, but it's a work in progress, and I wanted a premium Kubi, or a premium momentum for so long. I decided to just try to make one myself, and yeah, it's gonna come together. It's gonna be awesome. It already looks sweet. This is my favorite Kubi, the momentum. Just fabulous front flipper, great detent on this thing. Thumb studs are front flipper. The blade kind of angles down a little bit from the handle. It's a really good cutter. Really, really smooth. With the original G10, it's way smoother. 35 bucks, I think, for this guy. Sharif Mangana's design, one of my buddies, and yeah, the best Kubi. The Kubi KU074. This is a Kubi that I recently featured on the channel, and now nobody can find it anywhere. I think one guy was able to find one, but after I made a video on it, they sold out on Amazon, and apparently those were the last ones ever, because no one's been able to find any ever again. And I looked myself for a while. I still can't find them. I keep looking occasionally. Every so often I'll look again. I can't find them. This is an amazing Kubi. Look at this high polish bevel. Holy crap, dude. This knife was only around 45 bucks. It didn't come with the hole. I put that in myself because it really is much better with the hole. But even without it, man, look at this action, man. Smooth as shit. Great, smooth, snappy detent. With the hole, it really makes it. Really good choke up spot, kind of reminiscent of it, an Hinder XM18 in the whole kind of profile. Cool kind of milled, contoured, dippy whoopie doos in the G10. It's just such a cool knife, man. It really is cool. I mean, look at that bevel. It's just beautiful. So I wish they would make this again. If anyone knows where to find one, let me know, because I've got people looking. The Kubi Royal. This is a Colin Mason Pierre design, CM Designs, same guy that's behind Demco Knives. And we had him on our Blade Cartel Hangout, so I wanted to get one of his knives to check out. And this is a great knife. Smaller knife in D2, kind of a low-tipped drop point. Real nice and smooth. Front flipper and reverse flicker. Very snappy detent on this one. About 45 bucks. Kubi Kois. Another one of my favorite Kubis. This is a very, very slicey Kubi. Thin behind the edge. Very thin, acute tip on this one. I did a stonewash on the blade myself, and I enlarged the sharpening choil area also. Such a good snappy reverse flicker. I think the snappiest reverse flicker on this whole table right now. Great ergos. Kind of reminds me of like something related to a Spyderco from the future. Kubi Kois is a really good one. Great thumb flicker too, which not all hole deployments are good at. Lastly, the Damned Designs Brahma. This was my first experience with Damned Designs, and I'm impressed. I want to buy one of their premium knives. They make a lot of these versions, it's the same knife, but in titanium and a better blade steel. This is impressive. One of the most comfortable knives I've held. Something about the way this contour is and this point where it kind of, comes thicker right here and then thins out just feels so good in the hand. Love their dark stonewash on the blade. This was about 65 bucks, 14C28 in blade steel, real smooth flipper and reverse flicker. Just a cool aesthetic. I think, they have a really unique aesthetic on all their knives, which is really cool to see. Really good clip too. So there you go. There's some Kubis. On to the next. All right, let's talk about some kind of small, medium, on the small side of medium knives, kind of just randomly put in here. And they mostly happen to be Kaisers for whatever reason. First up, the Kaiser Mini Beglighter. Bought this one on a sale. Wasn't sure about it, but I don't carry it too much, but man, I gotta say, it is really excellently snappy little guy. Really, really smooth too for being such a small, light blade. It's really amazing. I mean, you can tell this thing's snapping out. I added some gold thumb studs on it. It really is a very thin, slicey blade, reverse tontoed. I guess sheep's foot is probably correct. Real nice micarta, as always. Kaiser just kills it with their micarta. It's a great little knife. Just doesn't make it in my pocket too much, but it's a good one, for sure. Next one is the Kaiser horn that I have chopped down. The Kaiser horn is a pretty ugly knife. I liked it, but I thought it would be a really good candidate for being shrunken down and chopped down. So I took the blade way down, took the handle way down, and this is an awesome knife. I wish they would make this knife or make a mini version of the horn. I just need to get the right tap to attach the pocket clip again, and oh boy, such a crisp detent on this thing. So smooth. Man, this is such a good knife. Choke up spot. It actually has a removable flipper tab. I have it off right now. It's just so smooth, dude. Man, I need to get the pocket clip on this thing. I kind of forgot about it, honestly, until right now. This is such a good mini knife. Full grip on it. Excellent fine jimping up here. Sheep's footy blade. It's just so much fun, man. Gosh. I need to get the pocket clip on that one. Next is one of the fidgetiest knives in the whole collection, the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog Double Detent version. Now this does come in a liner lock too, but not many people know you can also get it in a double detent. Yeah, it's real fun. So there's two detents, one that keeps it closed, one that keeps it open. The one that keeps it open is stronger than the one that keeps it closed. But it's strong enough closed where you can still really get a nice flick out of it. Super nice. And to close it, you just put pressure on the spine, make sure your fingers are out of the way, and it just slams shut. It is so fun, man. So fun. And the way you hold it, choked up like this, even if it disengages while you're cutting, it can't cut you because your finger stops it. It can't hurt you. Unless you're holding it down here like a dummy. Well, even then. Yeah, even then it can't. Look at that. It still hits in that finger choil area. So, really can't hurt you unless you're doing something real dumb. This is such a fun knife. 154 cm blade steel. I almost just went for a liner lock there. That was weird. This is so fun. You need to get one. And then the snappiest flipper in the entire collection, the Kaiser Lieb. Oh boy. If you have never tried this knife, you need to. Unbelievably crisp. It's insane. The Kaiser Lieb. Oh, I love it. N690 blade steel, sheep's foot, full flat grind, great micarta. This is a good one. This lives in a pouch inside my backpack, which is why you probably don't see it that much. I kind of forget it's in there sometimes, but I probably should switch that out for something else and kind of get this out in the pocket more. Because, oh boy. Oh yeah. The Spyderco Roadie. I could have put this in the Spyderco section that's coming up, but I figured I'd put it in here. This is a weird little Spyderco slip joint. They originally made this to circumvent some TSA laws. For a while they were thinking about letting knives back on planes, but with some heavy restrictions. So Spyderco made this to comply with those. And then they decided, you know what, actually, we're not going to allow knives at all. Never mind. So Spyderco still released this. It's got a choke-up spot. It's a weird humped blade. Pretty useful, though, for utility cuts. This is a kind of a double detent-ish. Well, never mind. No, there's a back spring. There's a back spring. Never mind. There is a back spring with a half stop. Little dimples there on either side to pull out the blade. N690, made in Italy. And a really fun, small, compact top flipper. Such a fun knife. The Civivi Lumi. This is a Justin Lundquist design with his top flipper. Really, really like this knife very much. I really want to get one of his other designs. I'm dying to get one of his, like the Black Void Opus or the Reverie, one of those. He's got so much cool stuff. But this is a really fun knife to do over the top flips or regular like that. I think, yeah, you can kind of do it like that, but over the top's my favorite. Very thin, very slicey hollow ground, very pointy blade. It's such a fun one. Civivi Lumi. All right. All right, this one's fun. Let's look at some kind of wild, crazy, kind of futuristic looking knives. Of course, the man himself, Elijah Isham, must be on the list. This is the Elijah Isham designed Civivi McKenna. This is the Damascus and aged copper version with a titanium clip that I put on aftermarket. This is such a great little slicer, utility cutter, very thin behind the edge. I think like 12 thousandths, 10 thousandths. Very fun, snappy front flipper with the perfect kind of jimping to grab your finger. Such a fun knife. And related to that knife, the Civivi Plethoros, another Isham design. And you can see why they're kind of in the same family there. Definitely. This one I put a stonewash on myself. Very thin, very slicey blade. I did a cut test with this and it did very well. I put a nice shiny edge on this baby. This is a cool one. Flipper tab kind of angled upward, so that in the open position it actually hides itself, which is really cool. Interesting looking knife, but surprisingly ergonomic, surprisingly useful. And let's skip over here because this is an Isham as well. This is the Kaiser Soze, the newest Elijah Isham acquisition in the collection. Same kind of looking flipper tab, and same reason it hides itself when it's open. Look at this crazy dagger-shaped, symmetrical looking blade. Holy crap. This is really sweet. Very pointy. This edge is not sharp, only this one here. Pokey. Get out of there. Titanium here, the fit up, excellent. Titanium milled pocket clip. S35 VN blade steel. Lock bar access is not great. This is not the most useful knife, but it is a piece of art. It is an absolutely amazing piece. Love this thing. The Kaiser Soze. Let's jump over here. Kershaw Launch 10. This is definitely a futuristic looking kind of knife. Really like kind of the angular scales here. These are aluminum. Love these teardrop cutouts right on the back right there. I think that's a really cool touch. I took the pocket clip off because this lives in my fifth pocket. Put the lanyard on. It's perfect. USA made. Kershaw. You can see the flag right there. And man, this thing kicks so hard. Ugh, so hard. Hawkbill blade, which absolutely tears into whatever you're cutting. Really good spot for your pointer finger right here. Man, the drag cuts on this thing are gnarly. Such a fun, snappy blade. Very good carry for the fifth pocket. Super nice. Been carrying this one a lot. The Riot XO-M. Gravity knife, baby. Holy crap, it's a gravity knife with a locking mechanism and a clip. A lot of really cool machining done on this titanium. I love how they do that kind of cross-hatched jimping right there. So it's a gravity knife. It's operated by lifting the, it's kind of the lock bar right here. Lifting it out of the way, releasing this tab, allowing the blade to slide out, and then sliding the lock bar back over around this tab, keeping it locked in the open position. And then you can lock it even further, pushing that up. Now this can't open up. Really cool knife, CPM 3V. Just so much fun. Some of the most unique sounds in the knife world. It's so fun. Riot XO-M. And we can't talk about futuristic knives without talking about the Winter Blade Co. Factor. Ugh, this is my favorite on the table. I mean, you guys probably know about it already. It's the Winter Blade Co. Factor. It's a knife functioning on magnets. Magnets form the detent. Magnets are used in the locking mechanism and in the deployment method. Little push bar right there for deployment. Or you can use the reverse flick. You can do a weird little front flipper kind of thing. I can flick this thing with all my fingers. Check it out. Pinky flip. ring finger flip, middle finger flip, pointer finger flip, thumb flip. Oh yeah, it's so much fun. It makes the ting. It's an excellent blade shape that's slicey, utilitarian, M390. Comfortable. We got titanium on this side, carbon fiber on that side. He mills out a slot right here for tritium if you want to buy some and put it in there. I did that. It glows all the time. You can't see it right now because of the lights, but this knife makes me smile, and the excitement has not worn off ever since I bought this. I absolutely love it. And then here's kind of a weird one. This is an X-Tuc. I don't even know the name of it. X-Tuc is kind of an off like Amazon brand. But I saw this one and it was real cheap, so I decided to check it out. It's got two flippers, a regular flipper back here, and kind of a weird top flipper. Actually works pretty well. It is actually really smooth. Kind of an interesting, huge pivot. Definitely weird looking, futuristic looking. I like the blade shape though. It's nice and thin behind the edge. Pretty ergonomic actually. I think it's, yeah, D2 blade steel. So this is a weird one. Surprisingly comfortable and a pretty good cutter too. There are some futuristic, angular, cool, badass knives. Let's get on to the next one. Alright, it's button lock time, baby! Button locks are the hot thing right now, and there's some really good ones here on the table. These are all budget knives, except for this last one, the king of them all, the Malibu. I don't know if it's the king anymore. There's some pretty good Wii button locks now that I haven't tried yet, but I hear they're really good. Out of all these on the table, though, this still is the king. ProTech. It's been around for a while. Tried and true. Companies have been trying to get this kind of action on their button locks forever, and they're getting really close, I gotta say. This is the California Custom Knife Show exclusive, 2023, number 17 out of 50. I love this. I mean, I went to that show. It was my first one and my only one that I've been to so far, and I really wanted to grab this so badly, and I got lucky. When I got there late, there was still a couple available. Mosaic button, beautiful. Textured green aluminum and Magna Cut blade. This is the Wharncliffe version. Yeah, this thing is absolutely sick. It's the Malibu. Amazing flipping action. Smooth button lock. Oh yeah. Alright, this is kind of an odd one. This is an X-Tuc button lock. This is on the table because they sent it to me. It's not bad. I like the design. It fills out my hand nice. Kind of reminds me of a Chavez design almost. But there's really no detent to speak of whatsoever. So it kind of, yeah, it's like a super beater knife, but it is a button lock, and it is a pretty good price for getting a 14C button lock. Yeah, that's about it on that one. The worst button lock on the table, the Vosteed Raccoon. This one I have chopped down and added a hole just because. This was one of the first runs of the Raccoon, and there was that whole controversy where this happened. The lock fails. Just tap it on the table and it fails. They have since fixed that issue apparently on all the new Raccoons, so that's great. But I keep this one around just kind of as an example of how easily a button lock can fail. And I can proudly say all the rest of these button locks on the table do pass the spine whack test. I'm not going to do it for you, but I have done it on them. They all pass. The CJRB Pyrite. We have the Wharncliffe and drop point versions. These are both White Mountain Knives exclusives. I love the Pyrite. This was the first budget button lock that I really thought, okay, wow. They did a really good job with this. I love it. This was the first one, the drop point. Wharncliffe just came out recently. Fantastic knives. Great price. And here's another Pyrite Wharncliffe. This is the stainless steel version. It's the better version in my opinion. It just, you know, you get the good clicky metallic sounds, but they all have extremely kind of snappy detents. Snappier than I've ever experienced on a budget button lock, so yeah, really nice. Then we have the CJRB Echo. Same thing, excellent detent, but we have a front flipper now too. And oh my god, it is good. This is the fidgetiest knife on the table. Excellent, excellent, very fun knife. And then the best cutter of them all, the Civivi Cubit. This one surprised me. Very thin blade stock, very thin behind the edge. Real snappy thumb flicker. Oh, I love this thing. Contoured, not contoured, but rounded edges on these aluminum scales for 65 bucks. I absolutely love this thing. It's been in my pocket ever since I got it a few days ago. Really impressed. So, there's some button locks for you. Let's move on. Okay, let's do my Sharp by Design collection. Brian Nadeau is one of my favorite knife designers, and I own 3 of his designs. I hope to own more in the future, and I hope to own one of his custom knives at some point. Although they are very expensive and very almost unattainable, but it's doable. I think in my lifetime I can make it happen. These are his Riot-made production knives. The first one here is my first one. It is the Apex. This is the Tanto version, the flipper Tanto version. Kind of a more, well, all of his designs are sort of futuristic looking. This one has the hole in the handle with this really excellently done blue anodized aluminum inlay on both sides. Titanium frame lock, but you know, the inlay kind of covers up some of that lock bar right there. His work is just so excellent. I love his design. Riot does such an amazing job as always, but it seems like they took it to the next level with his knives. He's not using a traditional detent ball. He uses his own special designed detent nub in there. The result is just a very crisp breakaway, a flipping action and flicking action that feels unlike any other knife. Just so smooth. We got a flipper. We got the reverse flicking ability. Huge area here to reverse flick from. Just huge. I love how all you see is like this bar going across, kind of. Such a cool design. I really like this texture back here for your thumb if you are holding it in reverse grip. That's just really nice. Gosh, just such a nice knife. S90V too. I love this belt satin. It just looks amazing. Gosh, yeah, that's the Sharp by Design Apex. Next, the Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. This was one that I missed the initial drop on. I was just getting into knives when these came out, and back then it was too much money for me to justify spending. And as time went on, I really grew to like his designs, and excuse me, I searched for this on the secondary market for a very long time, about a year of watching and waiting for this to come up on the secondary market, and finally it did. Gosh, I was so happy to get this version. This is the drop point version with the hand satin blade. Look at that beauty. Black titanium with this gold carbon fiber inlay. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite Brian Nadeau designs. Just amazing. Love that elegant blade with the fat swedge, how it kind of takes out that fuller right there. No branding, just a BN right there. That's it. I just put skiffs in this too, and oh my god, I don't know why I waited so long to put them in. Unbelievably smooth. One of the best front flippers ever. I mean, Brian Nadeau's detent with the front flipper deployment method is just, it works so well. Ugh, this is one of my favorite knives ever. Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. And then his most recent design, the Mini Evo. Oh yeah. This, I said in my review, was a perfect knife, and I stand by that. Now, it's not the perfect knife or the only perfect knife. It is a perfect knife. You can watch my full review if you want to hear my full thoughts on that, but this is a perfect knife. The ratio, the way that the blade flows with the handle, the way the flipper tab is in the open and closed positions, everything is just perfect on this knife. As with all of these, the tolerances are very tight. Everything fits together very well. This is a micarta inlay drop point. There was also a carbon fiber, and now there's some more fancy versions as well. I just think this is one of the best looking drop points I've ever seen. Um, I love this kind of dipped sharpening choil and flipper tab area. Such an amazingly good looking knife. Very smooth. One of the best flipper tab actions ever. Just amazing. Love his work. These will never leave the collection. And I hope to only add to my Sharp by Design collection. Moving on. This next group is kind of just random. I couldn't really think of a good category for these to be in, so just random. Civivi Elementum, a knife that never really clicked with me design-wise, never really liked it, but I bought one just to kind of, I needed to at least try it, and I still don't really like it. But I see why people do. It's a very straightforward, simple EDC knife. This one's got a really good detent on it. Very useful blade shape, hollow ground. You know, neutral handle that's comfortable, choke up spot. I see why people like it. It's just too plain Jane for me. Next, Petrified Fish Mini Beluga. This is definitely the best Beluga. There's a large as well. The large is just too blocky and big. This is such a good knife, the mini one particularly. Nice and smooth. Great front flipping action. There's a long fuller that's easy to reverse flick. I actually find it easier to use my ring finger to flick this one out. For some reason, sometimes I miss when I go with my regular finger. Except right now, I'm doing fine. But I like to kind of do it with this finger down here too. It's a great knife. Really ergonomic. Surprisingly thin behind the edge. Yeah, great one. These next two are Ganzos. I bought a few Ganzos to kind of test them out. I kept hearing that their action was really good. And these are very cheap knives, very cheap. And yeah, they weren't kidding. Really amazingly smooth action. I mean, gosh. I've heard people say that this is like Shirogorov level smoothness. And yeah, it certainly seems like it. Holy crap. This is the FH12 in stainless steel. I gotta say, I don't really love the overall design. It's almost like a straight-backed blade. I think it is a drop point, barely. I don't love the overall design, but the action is unbelievable. Snappy, snappy flipper. Yeah, wow. This one, I like the design a bit better. This is a flipper as well. Really comfortable, rounded flipper tab. Great detent. Unbelievably smooth as well. Not quite as drop shut as the last one, but really good. This is the Ganzo FH922 that I have modified a bit. Yeah, this one comes in a few different colors. Very neutral, comfortable handle. Good one. Kaiser T1. This is kind of an older Kaiser that they brought back, I believe. Great quality micarta, extremely smooth. One of the smoothest Kaisers I've experienced, and that's saying a lot. Sharpening choil wasn't great. I enlarged it myself, and really comfortable, straightforward knife, but excellent, excellent detent and smoothness. Oh yeah. All right, moving on. Okay, this is a fun one. Let's look at some big, beefy, kind of overbuilt knives. This one right here is a Cold Steel Recon 1. Big knife with thumb stud action and using Demco / Cold Steel's triad lock. Really strong locking mechanism. Huge knife, but really comfortable back here. It seems kind of far away from the edge. You can choke up right here on this flat spot. S35 VN blade steel. It's a chopper, man. Not overly thin, not very thin behind the edge at all. But it's just a freaking... It's like having a sword. You can chop with this thing. It can handle anything you throw at it. Next, another Cold Steel, the AD15. This is an Andrew Demco design. I love this thing. Really interesting locking mechanism. It's a scorpion lock, which he also has a patent on. Kind of almost a slow roller, but man, you get a satisfying click when it reaches the open position. How the scorpion lock works is you pull it back like this, and the blade falls shut, just like that. Yeah. This one's an S35VN blade steel. There is a light version as well. This one is wearing some OG Goat aluminum textured scales too. Love this texture. Just kind of classes it up a little bit. This is absolutely a big overbuilt, crazy cool knife. It's got just a really locked in handle feeling, choke up spot that that Demco likes to use, and yeah, this is a big, beefy, really badass, but also kind of fidgety at the same time. It's a good one. AD-15. All right, the Hinderer. One of the most special knives in the collection. I wanted a Hinderer ever since I first got into knives so bad, and just thought it was out of reach for the longest time. And then I finally realized, you know what? I can just save up my money and get one. Finally reached to a point where I could justify spending, that much money on a knife. And I did, and oh my gosh, I love this thing. I've done a lot of stuff to it. I put some a textured titanium Hinderer scale on it. Add some blue hardware with these spacers and nuts, lock bar stabilizer, and this Rick's Special Project filler tab. This used to be a Spanto blade shape, but it has been reground by BGM to have a drop point hollow ground blade. Beautiful, absolutely just stunningly gorgeous. Really thin behind the edge now. It used to be, almost 30 thousandths. Now it's more like 13, 14. It's a slicer now. I think it looks better. Everything feels snappier because we took out a lot of weight in the blade here. Yeah, this is such a good knife. So ergonomic. Choke up spot, amazingly comfortable. S45VN. I love this knife so much. I mean, look at it. Just look at this thing. It's amazing. So smooth on the drop, too. Wow. Next, some of my other favorite overbuilt knives. Chavez. We have the Chavez 229 Redemption Kickstop. Oh, yeah. The Redemption's been around for a while in thumb stud form. This is the version with the kickstop flipper tab. A deployment method and mechanism designed by Lee Williams. It's a flipper tab that, when it's closed, it's right there. When you flick it open, it disappears. It hides itself in there and becomes the stop pin. Really amazing engineering. Great flipping action. I mean, holy crap. You're flipping out a very large, heavy blade, and it feels like nothing. This is the Tanto version. As with all Chavezes, this is extremely comfortable in the hand. It's a beast of a work knife. We got the skull clip. We got the nice stonewash on the titanium. No milling on the inside. It's beefy, it's big, it's heavy, and it is absolutely wicked. My other Chavez, the Chavez Kickstop. It's a smaller one of his knives, but still beefy. This one's a thumb stud operator. Huge sharpening choil / choke up spot, which is really comfy. This one's got thicker blade stock, but oh my god, does it slice. I did a cut test video with this, and it blew me away how slicey this was. It really made me realize that Chavez's designs are not only aesthetically wicked, but they are precision cutting tools as well, which is always so good to see. Extremely smooth. I mean, such a perfect detent. Yeah, I hope to have more Chavez knives in my collection in the future. That's just the beginning. Let's get to the next ones. Spyderco time! Oh yeah, I love me some Spyderco, as you can tell. Pretty decent Spyderco collection here. Let's start with this one. This is a vintage Spyderco Police from the early 90s. Stainless steel handle, full serrations. This is a wicked, wicked looking knife. This was back when they were very much different than they are now. You can see the patent on the clip right there. Very cool. Still got the hole though. Always had the hole. Not the most ergonomic knife. you know, one position pocket clip, but this is what was a badass cutting edge knife back in the day. And this is where it all started. So a really cool thing to have in the collection. Let's start over here. This is the Spyderco Shaman in 15V. I was lucky enough to score one of these in 15V, and I fell in love with it. I owned all these Spydercos before I owned a Shaman, which is kind of crazy. It's one of their more popular knives. I don't know why I waited so long. Not because I didn't want one, but because they're a little pricey, and I was waiting for a special one to come along. This is the one. 15V, incredible. These are the stock scales. We have a nice stonewashed blade that is a first for the Shaman. I don't think it's had a stonewashed blade before. MXG deep carry pocket clip. As you'll see, almost all of these have MXG deep carry pocket clips, so I won't keep saying that. It's the Shaman. It's big. It's beefy. It's unbelievably comfortable. It's a good slicer with, just, you know, despite having such thick blade stock, I absolutely love the Shaman. My other knife in 15V, Manix 2. Probably the overall best work knife on the table here. It's incredible. This one has a nice polished edge done on it by Lacey. We have some titanium ball cage lock, titanium lanyard tube, and a ceramic ball which really smoothed out the action on this guy. I mean, drop shut, great reverse flicker. So much jimping on this knife, such a locked in, amazing kind of feeling. As Nick Shabazz would say, this is the knife you take into the Vaseline factory. It's the Manix 2. You guys know, it's incredible. I'm so happy I have one in 15V. My first Spyderco ever. Well, no, actually, I owned a Tenacious, but my first kind of higher-end Spyderco and my first PM2 right here, an S45VN, the regular version with titanium scales that I added. This is where my my Spyderco obsession began. My obsession with the compression locks, my obsession with Spyderco's ergonomics. It all started here. It's a PM2. It's one of their most popular knives for a reason. Unbelievable work knife. You can see this has got a lot of use over the years and continues to get pocket time. Although I do tend to carry this PM2 a little bit more often. This is the Wharncliffe version. Oh my god, is this badass. This is such a good cutter. This is the kind of standard one in S30V, but I have some RGT micarta scales on this and a brass plug. Gosh, yeah. I mean, it's the same knife, just a different blade, and this is an unbelievable cutter. It just blazes through things. It traps rope in here, straps. Such a good cutter. The Spyderco Delica in K390, and this is the Wharncliffe the Wharncliffe Delica. I think this is the best version of the Delica, period. And I have some titanium scales on here with a copper backspacer that really just takes it to the next level. This is the best slicer on the table right now. The thinnest blade stock, sliciest blade, and this K390 is just mind-blowingly good. This is such a perfect kind of smaller, medium-sized to small-sized EDC knife. It's hard to think of a better one, man, seriously. It is just all around so good. Another all-around extremely good EDC is the Native 5. This is the salt version in LC200N, meaning it's completely rust-proof. Man, I want to get more versions of this knife. I want a G10 version, I want a carbon fiber version, I want a titanium version, I want more Native 5s because it's really very good. It's just enough blade, not too much, not too little. Choke up spot that's so comfy. The backlock is not as fidgety, but it's satisfying in its own way. Hearing that lovely click in the open and a nice snap shut. Gosh, I love it. I love it. I will have more. And the little Native Wharncliffe with the duty daggers on it. I was that confident I would like the knife that I decided to get it lasered. Great snappy reverse flicker. One of the best small knives, in my opinion. You know, choke up spot is just really comfy. Very useful blade shape. Your pointer finger gets right at the tip. Draw cuts, utility cuts. And a false shut blade despite being so small and light. it's falling shut, baby. Love how snappy this little guy is. And the smallest knife in the entire video, I think. The McB. I love this knife so much. I love this. It's so much awesome in such a small package. It's incredible. This is a Damascus scale from Way of Knife. It was only 65 bucks, by the way, so go get one if you have a McB. This is also a titanium bead from some random spot on AliExpress. I love this high polished stonewashed blade, high polish on the Damascus. This is such a good looking, beautiful, beautiful knife. Stippling on the pivot and the lock bar, and then the relief cut. This is a McNeese design. This is a Taichung, Taiwan built Spyderco CTS XHP blade steel. So much awesome in one small package. I added this jimping on myself so that I could front flip it. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it so much. All right. Those are my Spydercos. Let's get on to the next ones. Fixed blades. I'm kind of embarrassed I don't own more fixed blades. I really want to add more to the collection. I just don't carry them that much. But these here on the table, at least these two right here, I do carry actually pretty often. Let's start here. Actually, let's start here. This is a fixed blade that I made from scratch by myself. This was the first one I ever made. It's got a lot of mistakes. I used way too thick of blade stock, but it is really comfortable. This is my first time grinding in a bevel, my first time doing any of this, and I think it's not too horrible for my first try. Now, my last try, most recent knife that I've made, is this one, and it's a lot better. Better blade shape, better grind, it's a full flat grind, more clean plunge grinds, more comfortable, better size. Better job on the heat treat. I actually did a cut test video with this knife to see how I did on the heat treat, and it actually performed not too bad at all. You can go watch that video if you like. Natural micarta scales. This is 1095 blade steel on both of these. Brass pins, 1/8 inch blade stock. Jimping. I'm proud of this one. I really like it. I made this sheath for it. It's not great. I'm not a leather worker. I wish I was better at it. I just need to practice. I need to have a better pocket sheath made for me so that I can feel better carrying this around. Now, the fixed blade I carry the most is this guy. You can tell by the wear on the sheath. I actually carry this quite a bit. It was new when I bought it. The Bradford Guardian 3 in N690 and G10. This is a really awesome fixed blade for EDC. Really, really like it. It's a great edge, very sharp. I actually cut the crap out of my finger during the cut test video of this knife. So if you want to see me cut my finger, go watch the cut test for the Guardian 3. It's in there. I left it in. Such a good knife, such a good sheath. I carry this just to the right of my belt buckle. It's so easy to just reach your hand down, hook your pinky around the butt there, pull it out, and you're ready to rock. Such a great way to carry the knife. I love the sheath. I love the knife. Next is a Mora knife that I've carried camping quite a bit. This is the carbon steel one that I have put an acid etch on it. It's a very cheap knife, but actually a pretty freaking good one. It's not a very good looking knife. I think it's actually kind of ugly, but it is really comfortable in hand. It's a full Scandi grind on the blade, plastic sheath. I've actually wrapped paracord around it and put a ferro rod in here. So, and I also filed a 90-degree bevel or a 90-degree edge on the spine here so that I can strike the ferro rod. So this is my kind of fire-starting camping knife. It does what it needs to do. And lastly, this is just some really cheap Amazon fixed blade purchase. I was kind of trying to find a smaller pocket fixed blade carry. I like how the sheath works a lot. I just don't like the knife too much. It's a little too small. And it was actually like a straight back design that I changed into a sheep's foot because I like that better. But it made the blade a little too small, and I never carry it. Maybe I'll give it away or something. So those are my fixed blades. Let's see what else we got. Slip joints, baby. Everybody's favorite category. Yeah, these are my slip joints. Let's check them out. First, my favorites, of course, my babies, my Ohio River Jacks. I have all three in jigged titanium, all three blade shapes. Let's check them out. My first one. Oh, by the way, these are all slips made by Northwoods Leatherworks Co. Hit him up on Instagram at Northwoods Leatherworks. I love his stuff. They're great prices. He makes them specifically for your knife, whatever knife it is. You can pick your leather and your stitching. Good stuff. So my first one was the sheep's foot. Great work knife. This is probably the one I carry and use the most. And then we have the Warncliffe. A little bit slicier because it's a full flat. By the way, guys, the walk and talk on all of these is so good. Let's listen to that. Oh, it's so satisfying. I love it. Really stiff. Oh, so good. The jig titanium is amazing. The fit and finish is so good. Gosh, I have a discount code for these as well. You get them at traditionalpocketknives.com. And code DUTY10 will get you 10% off. They're just incredible. I really recommend these if you want a modern slip joint, but with some kind of traditional elements as well. And then finally, the spear point. Probably the most, actually, yeah, it is the most slicey of them all. Forgot to clean that one out after I carried this one almost all last week. I kind of rotate between these. So the spear point, this one has a thinner measurement behind the edge than the others, just by a little bit though, not by much really at all. Great spear point blade shape. So yeah, those are my babes. I didn't buy all at the same time. I started with this one and then decided I needed to have all three and then slowly bought the others. All right, let's look at some Rough Riders. If you want something more budget oriented, this is, in my opinion, the best Rough Rider, at least that I've tried. And it's called the Work Knife. Classic sway back design. Great walk and talk for a budget knife. I mean, I've handled way more expensive knives that didn't have this good of walk and talk, for sure. It's the Work Knife. I think it's like a $13 knife. Then we have the Hawkbill, which is really good for opening packages. It's big, it's beastly, kind of just for fun, but I opened my packages on the channel with this for quite a while until it got dull, and then I still need to get some kind of rod so I can sharpen that. And then we have a traditional style bolster lock, which I kind of wanted to get just to check out. This is like a $9 knife, I believe, and it has a traditional bolster lock, which is really cool. It also has a back spring too, so it still has the regular, half stop, full stop, but we just have an added kind of layer of locking with that bolster lock. Like the red on that as well. And then we have my only case knife, the only American-made knife here on the table. This is my first case, and it's a John Deere. I got the John Deere one because it reminds me of my grandpa. This is the medium Stockman. We have the clip point. We have a small sheep's foot. And we have a small spade blade, too. Really nice polish on all of these. The fit and finish, I think, could be a little bit better, but it's only a $50 knife, so I get it. USA made. I love the color. Really reminds me of my grandpa, so that's why I bought it. That's why I'm keeping it. So I like that one a lot. And then lastly, the most modern of them all, a modern slip joint, the Real Steel Solus. This is a $35 knife that I think is really overlooked. We have a large fuller all the way down the blade to grab and pull out. We have a 45-degree half stop, which is interesting. Nice snap to the full stop, or full open. Really thin, slicey Warncliffe blade or sheep's foot blade. And we got a clip. Only one on the table with a clip. D2 blade steel. It's comfy. It's very slicey. I just think it's a great modern traditional. You can get this knife in a more premium version in titanium, actually, which I've been thinking about, for $100. So that's the Real Steel Solus. And those are my slippies. Moving on. Whew, I'm getting tired of doing this. This is taking longer than I thought it would. All right, up next are just some kind of oddballs. Here we have the amazing Demco AD 20.5. I gotta let the dog out. Gosh, hang on. The amazing, legendary AD 20.5, designed by Demco. This is still one of my favorite knife designs. Utilizing the shark lock, it's amazing. Gosh, you know, it's just so good. I have a Lynch deep carry pocket clip on it and copper thumb studs. It's clicky, it's clacky. It's a great ADC knife, choke up spot, choked back, very comfy. Love this knife so much. And probably my favorite Kaiser, the Drop Bear. This is my favorite Kaiser, I think. It's such a good work knife. I love this spear point, drop pointish blade. Great sharpening choil, very comfortable in hand. Aluminum scales, adjustable clutch lock. One of the smoothest and best crossbar locks I've ever tried. I have some aluminum gold anodized thumb studs on here, sold by Kaiser. You can get them on their website. I carried this knife every day for a month and did a review on it. If you want to go watch a long-term use review on it, you can go do that. The Finch Holiday. This was a gift from my buddy Diener, and this is the best Finch, in my opinion, at least that I've seen. I haven't tried all of them, obviously, but I love this one. Hand satin rubbed blade, modern traditional design. The Finch shield, perfectly inlaid in there that glows in the dark. Titanium pocket clip, milled, glassy smooth, real snappy detent, thin Warncliffe blade. This is a classy knife. I carry this on special occasions. I carried it during Christmas, Thanksgiving, and a few other kind of family gatherings. This is my classy going out knife, the Finch Holiday. And my only OTF, the Axial Gear Shift. I really like this knife. I wasn't sure if I was an OTF guy because I had tried a bunch of Microtechs, didn't really like them. But I decided to give this a shot because I like the aesthetic. And it turns out I am an OTF guy. I'm this OTF guy, though. Warncliffe blade, so it's actually real useful day to day. I really love the high polish stonewashing they have on the blade. Looks so freaking good. This is the teal version. This is aluminum coated handle here. Comes in different colors. This is, I think, the best color. It really just pops. Love how they do the clip. It kind of goes in through the back here and is secured by a screw right there. So it's reversible. Really ergonomic handle. The switch doesn't stick up too high, so you can get up nice and close to the edge comfortably. Fires hard. Has never misfired on me ever. And this is the crew wear version. Really, really like this OTF. Alright, just a couple more categories, and let's wrap this baby up. Okie dokie, my Leatherman collection. I've got 4 Leatherman. You can tell by the leather cases that they have been used and loved. And then there's this one, the Leatherman Micra, that lives in a pouch in my backpack every day. This is a really good pair of scissors. Small pair of scissors, but they work really good. I won't go through all the tools, but there's a little tool set on there. Just a really nice kind of compact pair of scissors. Really handy to have around. All right. The Leatherman Crunch. This is a Leatherman that is discontinued now. It's a pair of folding vice grips. Really genius design. I really love how these sound. They're clicky, clacky, really useful too. It's a pair of vice grips. You know, you got the tensioner down here. This actually screws out all the way, and it's actually a bit driver as well. You got a basic set of tools in here, right back there. You got a wire stripper. Really useful, comfortable, really great design. All right, next up, the Leatherman Rebar. This was my daily carry for a long, long time until I upgraded to this one here. This served me very well. It's a medium-sized Leatherman multi-tool. No tools accessible from the outside, kind of like that old style. Really good set of tools on the inside. Replaceable wire cutters. More heavy-duty head than some of the other similarly sized Leatherman. You have a real good file. Real good 3D Screwdriver here, one of the best features of the multi-tool. That served me so well. Actually, let me open this one. So they're all open. And lastly, my latest Leatherman purchase, and has been my daily carry for about 3, almost 4 months now, the Surge. You can tell it is quite a bit bigger than these other ones here. So let me open the micro too. But it has tools accessible from the outside, you know, serrated, plain, scissors, and replaceable T-shank adapter that I have a file in it right now. Just a really heavy duty multi-tool. It's big, quite big, but extremely comfortable, heavy duty. You can tell I've been getting a lot of use out of these. Like I said, I carry them every day. I use them every day, if not multiple times a day. So super heavy duty, really been enjoying them. So there's my Leatherman. I think we have one more category and we're done. All right, last category, guys. If you made it this far, I really commend you. This last category is a little random, but they all happen to be very good cutters. All of these knives I have done cut testing with, and they performed better than I even thought they would. The first one here is a Kunwu. This is the Pulsar. I joined this Kickstarter when it began from Kunwu. Got a really good price on it. It was delivered in a really short amount of time, about 3 months. Number 286 out of 600. L-Max blade steel. Very smooth crossbar lock action. A lot of really cool detail here. Crown, spine, great texture. A lot of really cool milling back here. I mean, yeah, they really went above and beyond with the milling here. Excellent design. Good choke up spot. Broad blade. Thin behind the edge. This is such a good cutter. It's ergonomic. It feels at your hand. Yeah, this is one I'll never get rid of. Cheapest one on the table, the Vosteed Nightshade, with its really unique shillin cutter kind of blade shape. This is an unbelievable cutter. Full flat grind, thin behind the edge, a kind of banana-shaped blade and handle relationship, with the tip pointing downward. So when you go to do utility cuts, it feels weird at first, and then you're like, oh wow, this is gliding through material. It feels so good for slicing as well. It just traps the material right in here, right where you want it. 154 cm blade steel. This is the version with the deployment hole. There's also a flipper, and now also a thumb stud version. And there's also a mini coming out too that I actually just pre-ordered. It's a mini version of this with the crossbar lock, so hopefully that's as good as this is, because this surprised me in the cut tests. I carry it a lot. It's got great detent too. Crown spine. Great knife. Now, TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing, a knife company I've been obsessed with recently. I've been lucky enough to score these two in the last month. They're hard to get. It's a small company. They put out small batches. But somehow I was lucky enough to get both of these in a short amount of time. It's unbelievable. The first one I got was the TRM Shadow. This is their first knife and only knife with the crossbar lock. They call it a river lock. This design, ever since I first saw it, really just spoke to me. I just think it's such a good looking knife. It's kind of the more work knife kind of designed aesthetic and function out of the two here. A lot of really amazing detail on this knife. I go through it in my full review. If you're interested, go watch that. The centerpiece is kind of this beautifully machined pivot right here. Very smooth crossbar lock action. O-rings around the thumb studs to kind of give you some grip and cushion on there. This is in 20 CV blade steel, and this 20 CV is done so well. This edge lasts ridiculously long. I have not sharpened it yet. I've been using it a lot. The blade stock, unbelievably thin, 0.08 inches thin, or a measurement there. Great blade shape for EDC. Really comfortable choke up spot. Oh, I just love everything about this knife. TRM Shadow. And then one of the crown jewels of my collection, the TRM Atom. in textured titanium. I saved the best one for last. It's not the best one in the collection. It's close, though. I absolutely love this thing. Man, I cannot believe I was able to score this. It's a design that's been out for a while, but this is their first time doing this type of texture on it. And oh my god, does it look good. Just insanely beautiful, man. Oh my god. Especially in this light. Holy shit. Inset deep gray pocket clip. Great detent. Such an elegant design. Really kind of just sexy. Same very thin blade stock. It's actually the same measurement as the Shadow, so extremely slicey. I did a cut test on this as well. Did extremely well. Inset titanium liner lock with the carbonized lock face. Washer action on both of these, so just real smooth kind of hydraulic feeling. Excellent thumb stud action. Choked back, real comfy. Choked up, real comfy. This is kind of just a very elegant, all-around good knife for EDC. You could carry it for work too, obviously. It'd be a great work knife. But for me, this is going to be a light-use EDC knife. I don't want to scratch it. I want to keep it pretty. But it's just, it works too well for me not to use it. I have to use it. Just amazing. So, TRM Shadow. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Those are my knives. I do sell knives. I don't keep every knife I buy. If I did, I would have way, way more. But, you know, I cycle things in and out of the collection. The knives you saw in the video today are knives that, for whatever reason, I've decided to hang on to and keep in the collection. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really, really proud of my collection. And, yeah. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. And you know what? We forgot one knife. I did not do this on purpose, I swear to God, but I'm looking at it across my desk right here, and I can't believe I forgot to include this. The Fat Peepee. How could I have forgotten? Oh my god, I'm sorry, little guy. This is my Fat Peepee. It's a very tiny, very not useful blade. It's like a stubby chode Tonto. Not a useful blade shape at all, but it's my Fat Peepee, and I love him very much. Saved my marriage. It's a steel frame lock. It's cheap. It's got a one-sided thumb stud that's kind of useless. I mean, you can use it to roll it out. It's pretty much a two-finger knife, but it's funny. It's fun to say Fat Peepee, and that's about it. Thanks, guys. I love you. Please like the video before you head out. It's the least you could do for the amount of work that I put into doing this. It took forever. My voice hurts. Time to get some sleep. I love you guys very much. Thank you for helping to make this channel what it has become and what it's turning into. It makes me so happy. So, I love you. I'll see you soon in the next video, in the lives, in the comments. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.